Good morning, Internet. My name is Michael Garza for eXp Realty in San Ramon, California. I service the North, East, and South Bay of my territory, and I wanted to share a message with those of you who are out there who are interested in buying. Let's dig into it. So I know that right now it can be a very scary time to want to buy a home. I get that. It's always scary, but right now it's extra scary because interest rates are just going up and up and up and up. Well, try and bear in mind that this isn't a permanent thing. They will eventually stop. They're going to create a recession, which is their goal. They want to get a soft labor market, which basically means that they need to slow the economy down. And the reason they're doing that is because inflation can easily become runaway and very quickly become uncontrollable. And that's what the Fed is trying to avoid. Anyway, in a nutshell, that's why home loans are 7% right now. I know that this is frightening for a lot of you, but I want you to take a step back and try and see the forest for the trees. And what I mean by that is that there's a couple of points that you should really keep in mind when you're thinking about buying a home. The biggest point is this. If you look historically at how Americans have gained and accumulated wealth, it's via property. The more property you can buy, the more money you're going to make. It's leveraging your money. For every one of those payments you make, you're making extra money back. So if you look at a chart, let's say a graph from 1980 to the present day, 2022, you'll see that the value of homes increases. Then about every 7 to 10 years, it'll either level off or it'll decrease, which is what it's doing right now. Then very quickly being a year to 18 months, it turns around and starts increasing in value again, quickly passing the previous peak. This happens over and over and over again. Think of it like the market breathing. It's entirely normal to do this, and because it surpasses the previous peak every single time, as it's done many times since 1980. A home that you bought in 1980, say for $120,000, is now worth $850,000. And there's very little that you could invest your money in that would make that kind of wealth for you. And it creates generational wealth. It's not just for you, it's for your kids and your grandkids as well. Because if you're a good steward of that property and a good steward of that money, you can create generational wealth, which will lift your entire family. So that's point number one. Point number two to bear in mind is that these rates, even though they're high right now, they will have to normalize at some point. Now, what does that look like? I can't tell you in any honest way what that's going to look like. But if we do top out at 8%, and inflation decreases to around 2%, which is their goal, then they will at least level off, if not begin to drop interest rates. They'll have to, because once they've chilled the market for a period of time, they don't want it to go into recession too deeply, because that's almost as dangerous as inflation. So they will have to lower rates to start stimulating the economy again. And then we'll find a constant rate somewhere between where it used to be, about 4%, and where it is now, about 7%. So when that happens, even if you bought at a 7% loan, it's pretty sure that at some point you're going to be afforded the opportunity to refinance. Now, no, refinancing isn't free. It could cost you $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. But if you lower your payment at that point from, I don't know, let's call it $3,000 down to $2,700, you're making $300 a month. That $300 a month will take less than 3 years to make up the cost of that refi. And then after that, you're making money. You can take that $300 a month and reinvest it or put it in the bank or, whatever you want to do. But the point is that the housing market is fluid. It's in constant flux. It never stays the same. It's always moving, just like the stock market. Very, very similar. Stock market, of course, is much more extreme and it's much more frequent, or what it's called in the business is frothy. The housing market is a lot more stable, which is why many people invest in housing and real estate, because it is a stable investment. So I hope that that helps to convince some of you who are pulling back a bit right now to get back into the market. The raising rates has knocked a lot of people completely out of contention. So especially in the entry-level areas and price ranges, a lot of you aren't going to have the competition that you used to have, but that won't last. Eventually, the Fed is going to lower rates, and when they do, the banks will have to follow suit, and when that happens, that's going to draw a lot of people back into the market again. So you're seeing just about across the board in all areas price reductions right now, or price improvements, as a lot of agents like to call it. This is a good opportunity to get into a property if you have the financial strength to do so. If you've got a good job, long-term job, good down payment, great credit, you can get into a piece of property for a much better price than you could have, say, 2 years ago. So now is an opportunity, and I urge you to look at it as an opportunity. Every time one door closes, another one opens, right? Once again, Michael Garza, eXp Realty here in San Ramon. You can reach me at 510-755-2828. I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have about real estate. Whether you're already an owner, whether you're a seller who wants to sell, or a buyer who wants to buy, I can help you out. Thanks again. Now I'm going for a mountain bike ride. See you all later.